Welcome to some StarCraft 2 action. My name's Ravage Talon. We've got another game with Ziz playing the red Protoss pieces on the northern position on Metalopolis. His opponent today is going to be Warlock playing the blue Protoss pieces in the western position of the Metalopolis today. And so it is going to be a Protoss versus Protoss match. And as we can see, they're spawning in the close rush distance positions. So I fully expect to see some early aggression from at least one of these players. I keep wanting to say ZYZ, but he corrected me. It's actually Ziz, and I need to remember that. Ziz is in the Masters League, and I'm assuming his opponent is as well. He is currently like a 2,800, 2,900 rated something player, with a lot of wins but a lot of losses as well. So his win-loss ratio is about 50-ish%, maybe closer to like 55 or 57%, something like that. So it's not stellar, but it's pretty good as well. If you're winning more than 50% of your games in the Masters League, and previous to the release of the Masters League he was very high rated in Diamond, that's still pretty impressive. So he's definitely a very good player. I don't know a damn thing about Warlock. But we'll see how this one plays out. First scout worker for Ziz is out and is harassing the first pylon of Warlock. That should force a worker to come off the line for Warlock to stop that harass. Look at that, the shields are almost completely down. Just 4 more hits and the shields of that pylon are going to be gone completely. Look at this. He's doing life damage to that pylon. That's great. But look at this. We've got a proxy in-base pylon for Warlock in the back behind the smoke over here. I don't know if... no, Ziz doesn't know about that at all. So that's pretty big. Gateway up, Cybercore on the way. He's got one gas down. Gas down, Cybercore on the way. And a Zealot coming out of that gateway. And look at that. He's almost whittled that pylon down to half. That could be huge, and he's still working on it. Look at that. It's below half health. He's going to destroy this frickin' pylon with a probe. No, there goes the Zealot. That probe gets sliced to pieces. Wow. He got that pylon down to 76 hit points. That's ridiculous. Back over in Ziz's base, he's chrono boosting his Cybercore and his gateway. He's trying to get that Stalker out, plus those warp gates. Still doesn't know about that pylon. No, he does not. He needs to send a scout over here. Please, send a scout over there. Send a scout over there. Come on, dude. 2 more gateways on the way for Warlock, so we are going to see some in-base warp in play here. 4th gateway, so it is a 4 warp gate. And it is going to be warp in base. And I don't know if Ziz is going to be able to deal with this in time. Now getting up 3 gateways of his own. So he'll be on 3 gateway while his opponent will be on 4. And I'm not sure if he's going to be able to deal with this. And here comes a pylon to the front here, and there's another proxy pylon coming up at the front of the base over there. 2nd pylon on the way, 3rd pylon on the way, and we've still got the in-base one back here, so Ziz is in a lot of trouble right now. These warp gates are about ready to finish, and we've got some early pressure now from Warlock's forces. Stalker and a Zealot moving into the mineral line to try and pick off some probes here. And instead they're going to turn around and focus the Zealot. That Stalker is almost dead, 2 hit points. If it can micro, it can get away. And nope, it stands there and gets sliced to death. Another scout probe for Ziz coming back home. And here comes the Warpins in base. This is what I was afraid of. The Warpins in base. He of course knows about that pylon. He has to at this point. Zealots in the mineral line doing a lot of damage. Takes a few probes. Can they take another? 2, 3, 4, 5 probes going down. 6. A lot of probes have gone down. But the probes turned around and actually focused down the Zealot there. And now they see this pylon. They've got to take it out pronto. 3 more Zealots warping in the back end of the base here. And 3 Stalkers are up for Ziz to try and take out these pylons. He needs to take those pylons out. He's going to be in a lot of trouble. Good force fields right there to block those Zealots from moving straight into the middle line from that direction. They're going to have to go around the assimilator, and it allows these Stalkers to get some shots off. Photon cannons up in the mineral line as well to provide some extra defense. 2 more Stalkers in the base for Warlock, trying to do as much damage as they can to that mineral line. And thus far it's been very successful. This pressure has been great. Second gas going down and a robo coming up for Warlock. And it looks like Ziz has been able to hold this off though for the most part. He's going to focus down these pylons and he'll be in relatively safe position now. But the economic damage has been done. Though look at this though, they're actually even on Harvesters. Warlock cut probe production to focus everything he had into that attack. Most 4 warp gate strategies do kind of seem like they're all in-ish, but you do cut probes to focus on getting units out for the attack. So it kind of left them in even positions now as far as economy. So the economies for both of these players are even, and I do want to say that Ziz probably has the army advantage right now. 49 to 40 in terms of the supply count. So he's moving up to the front of Warlock's base with a large force of gateway units. He's gonna poke up with 1 Zealot to see what's going on. But there's a large force of Stalkers and a couple of Zealots up there to greet him, so he can't break that right now. So he's going to fall back to his base and look to secure his natural expansion finally. No upgrades as of yet from the Forge. Continuing to make sentry. Got 2 cannons in the front coming up right here. So the natural for Ziz will be relatively secure. Robo facility on the way as well for him. And there is now an Immortal on the field for Warlock, so that earlier Robo facility paying off. He's got an Observer coming out too, and that's going to be likely heading all the way over to Ziz's base, or just sitting in the front there. Excuse me. Got a bit of a sore throat today, so bear in mind. Just bear with me there. So hasn't thrown down a Nexus yet. Might be saving for the Nexus at this point, or just continuing to warping units. I'm saying all the wrong things today. He's secured this front with a cannon and a couple of pylons, but he's not saving the money to build a Nexus. His Robo facility is almost done. Taking a look at the income tab again. And Ziz is now actually ahead in Harvesters, 33 over 28. So the economic advantage is now favoring Ziz. And if he were to throw down an expansion right now, he'd have plenty of probes to transfer and his economy would just take off. Observer for Warlock scouting around the natural of Ziz to see what's going on. He probably sees these cannons. Yes, he does. Doesn't see the Nexus being thrown down. There it goes. That Nexus finally going down just in time now. And Warlock is continuing to stick to 1 base. He's got the Robotics Bay up. And that extended Thermal Lance is on the way, so we're going to see some Colossus play from Warlock coming up. There's 1 Colossus out on the field already. No Robotics Bay for Ziz yet. Throwing down a pylon over here. And he's going to throw down a pylon in the smoke over here. Good idea, just in case there's any more, maybe a warp prism sort of shenanigans. Expansion almost done for Ziz. And an expand is now going down for his opponent now as well. Harvester count is still very much favoring Ziz. 35 over 28 still. I think Warlock has cut probe production. It would seem like it. Both players actually not building probes right now. Expand is now done for Ziz, and he should get right back on that probe production for sure. No probes being made though. Come on, make some probes, buddy. The forces for Ziz are just hanging out in the back of the natural. But here comes a large force for Warlock. 2 Colossi out, an Immortal in that mix, bunch of Stalkers and Zealots. No upgrades to speak of for these forces except for the Thermal Lance upgrade. And they're going to start poking away at those cannons. But here comes the forces of Ziz moving in A lot of force fields being thrown down. The Immortal is getting focused down by the Zealots. The Immortal falls for Ziz. But it looks like it was able to do enough damage. It takes out Warlock's Immortal. The Colossus in the back doing a lot of damage, but just not enough to deal with these Stalkers. And it looks like the remaining Colossi for Warlock are going to be forced to retreat. Will he pick off one? Oh, if he had Blink, he could blink right over there and take that out. Too many Stalkers. Stalkers not the best to use Colossus against. They do better against the Zealots and Sentries. So here's an engagement at the front. Force field thrown down. Not the greatest force fields there. The Colossus in the back. 3 Colossus now doing a lot of damage even against the armored Stalkers. So Ziz is now forced to fall back to the Stalker Colossus army. And he needs to get out something to deal with those Colossus. Another Immortal out. Chrono boosting the Immortals now. And he's going for a Twilight Council. So some different strategies of play coming out from both of these players. Warlock sticking to mostly Colossus and Stalker. And Ziz is sticking to Gateway units plus Immortals, as it would seem right now. Plus he's getting out that Twilight Council. And there he goes. Flicking Colossi, so stupid. And then Warlock goes TT. So a little bit of rage from Ziz. I hate Colossi wars, mate. I don't blame him. That's what PvP tends to devolve into. So here comes an engagement for Warlock, moving in the front. 4 Colossus in this group. Lot of Stalkers in there. 2 Immortals though for Ziz are going to melt away these Stalkers and eat a lot of the Colossus fire. Colossus don't do that much to Stalkers and Immortals. It's just, it doesn't work. Colossus falls. 3 Colossus left. All of the forces on the ground, aside from the Colossus for Warlock, are down, so chasing these Colossus away. Only 3 Colossus. Will he take another one? That Colossus has 40 hit points left. That's 58, and he's down. Will he take another Colossus? Remember, he engaged with 4. He's down to 2. Very good defense from Ziz. Using his ground forces effectively against the Colossus, sticking to the Immortals. And Warlock still sticking to the Colossus. This is quickly becoming a war of attrition that both players aren't really doing the necessary transitions to get out of, though I do think that this game right now is favoring Ziz because he's gone for the Zealot legs now. So Zealots will have charge. No attack upgrade still yet to speak of, and more Immortals coming out. Still on 4 warp gates. Chrono boosting that Zealot leg speed. That's almost done. Here comes another gateway down on the low ground here by the natural. Let's take a look at this income tab real quick. Both players are about relatively even in harvesters and income in terms of that. The army size. And we're relatively even in army size. Warlock actually has a couple more supply than Ziz, but they're still, for all intents and purposes, basically neck and neck at this point. And just for the hell of it, let's take a look at the APM tab. Ziz up at 150, Warlock down at 71. Like APM is really a gauge of skill, haha. Let's get back to the production tab. Dark Shrine on the way, where is it? Where's the Dark Shrine? Let me see it. There it is. Ziz is almost fully mined out here in the main. He's got to secure a 3rd soon. We're almost on 20 minutes in this game, and neither player has taken a 3rd. But the Dark Shrine is on the way for Ziz, and this could prove very good, especially if there is no detection up for Warlock. Which right now there does not seem to be. He had an observer before, but I don't think it's anywhere now. Proxy Pylon on the high ground for Warlock. Gonna try and do some more warp gate play. Another group of Stalker Colossus with a couple of Sentry mixed in there. Tries to pick off the cannon. Picks off the cannon. Force fields go down. Pretty good force field. Great force field with that 4th one. Blocking a lot of the forces, so it takes a few units for free because of the force fields. And now Ziz is on the defensive here. Ziz is up against the wall, but the Immortals are finally moving in to do a lot of damage to the armored units on the ground. So many units for Warlock are just falling to the Immortals, but there are a lot of Colossus on the field. That engagement seemed a little bit more even than the last few. Ziz was able to repel the last few Colossus pushes very well and very convincingly. That one seemed a little bit more even in terms of the exchange of units there. Where is that Dark Shrine? The Dark Shrine is done. Do we have any Dark Templar on the field? Here comes one. And there's 3 more. So some Dark Templar are now out on the field, and he's going to move out with just the Dark Templar to do some harassment, which is very good at this point, but both of these players need to take a third, and as soon as I say that, Warlock just now throwing down his third now there. The problem with taking a third now on this map is in these positions with the close rush distance, you're basically playing on Steps of War at this point with only 1/3 available, and that's right here, and you don't want to expand towards your opponent. That's terrible. The Dark Templar are in the base of Warlock, and they're going straight for the Robo facility. Look at that. They're going to take out the Robo facility. They're going to snipe it before an observer pops. And these Dark Templar, there is no detection. These could end the game right now. 4 DTs, and they're just chasing away the forces of Warlock. He has to go pretty much all in at this point because the Dark Templar are going to make the difference in this game right now. More DTs warping in at the front of the base for Warlock, or excuse me, Ziz, and here he comes with his reinforcing units, and this force is just going to go down, 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 down. Warlock goes nice. And that was nice. Clutch Dark Templar made the absolute difference in this game, and now he's going to move in for the kill. GG calls Warlock, GG calls Ziz, and that was some great play from Ziz. Great clutch transition to Dark Templar. Knew his opponent had no detection whatsoever, was able to take out the Robo before the detection were to come out. There was an observer on the way, but it was taken out. Didn't bother to take a third of his own, but he didn't need it. Got some DTs out, clutch win of the game, and very good Protoss versus Protoss play from my good friend Ziz. Hope to see some more of his games in the future. I've been bugging him to send me replays. And, yeah. So hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll see you guys next time. This is Ravaged Talon signing out.